right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Macabre Daily interview. My name is Brian Finnerty, as most of you know, and today I am super excited to be joined by Kyle Valle and Erin Anya, who are the writers and creators of ZombieCon Vol.1. They are also, as I'm sure you'll see in this interview, an adorable married couple. Um, so get ready for some good banter. No pressure to you two. Um, and yeah, we're here to talk about your movie, which was, if I have it correct, it started as a short film. The feature was released last year, and then you just had your DVD release last week, right? Did I get all
Just about,
that?
Base
just about.
that's
Yeah.
99% there.
Okay.
So
Correct
this
me.
has been like a common confusing point with like the 2018 thing on IMDb.
Mhm.
Long story short, we filmed it in 2016, the feature, and we didn't have enough money because we only had a $60,000 budget. We didn't have money for test screenings, but we wanted to kind of get the audience's opinion, see what was working, what wasn't working, and our cheap way to do that was to submit it to film festivals.
Hmm.
And we submitted it as an unfinished. It was accepted as an unfinished. We were shocked when it actually got nominated and then won an award at one of the film festivals. And then as soon as you win an award, IMDb says you're released, even though we were still in the throes of post production, and we like
Whether you're
completely
ready or
changed the
not.
movie. Yeah, and so we were like a little bit confused. Hundreds of
That's news
emails
to
later with
us.
IMDb. That's right. Hundreds of emails later with IMDb. Uh, no action was going to be taken on their part, and we ended up needing to, after COVID, we've totally remade the film, just retitle it. So, it is a completely different film from the first film. So it was in a way connected, but also very different. So
Okay.
if
Okay.
that, it's a confusing situation for me. So I don't
Are,
really.
are there
The,
like
the
old bootleg versions of the original version floating around out there?
oh, everywhere. There are some well, on Kyle's old desktop and hard drives, there are so
Oh yeah.
many versions of this film. It looks totally different depending on which year you were looking at a rough cut. But a good tip for indie filmmakers, don't submit your film unless it is absolutely ready to go, especially if you're like, it's a work in progress. I'll be done with it by the time, if I get accepted. You might not be, you don't know. Don't go in with a work in progress thinking it's good for test screenings that you'll be done. Just don't do it. Wait until it's done. Lesson learned.
Yeah. Ask your friends and family to be your test screening audience.
Mhm.
Oh, good advice. But so I guess for collectors, if we can get our hands on one of those old versions, it'll be like worth millions one day when they're like super famous filmmakers.
I really hope so because I will be pressing them into existence if they're worth millions and selling them myself.
Uh,
It'll
so
be very funny. Yep.
so for anyone listening who is not already aware, would you guys mind just giving kind of a quick synopsis of what is the movie about?
All
Sure,
right.
Eric.
So ZombieCon Vol.1, it follows four cosplaying best friends called the Rockets, and they are your absolute typical cosplaying, anime loving, total geeks, nerds, best friends. And then things take a strange turn after visiting a con, an encounter with an odd mystic homeless man and a magic rock. I won't give anything more away, but a wish is made unwittingly, and all of the assholes in the world suddenly are transformed into zombies. At which point, our cosplaying best friend group needs to find a way to either hunker down, survive the apocalypse, look out for a best friend, or a mama bear. Maybe I'll give that little bit away, and don their cosplay armor, their katanas, and kind of become possibly the real heroes that they've only ever just envisioned themselves, possibly in their dreams or as cosplayers being.
It's perfect. I was just talking the other day with Tina Romero, who made Queens of the Dead, and we were talking about how like queer people are the perfect people to survive a zombie apocalypse. But I feel like watching your movie, I don't know, maybe we need another movie where the two groups, like cosplayers and queer folk, like duke it out to see who is actually the
Oh,
best prepared.
I thought you were going to say team up. I was like, I'm ready for that team up, but duking it out, now we're getting crazy. Okay.
Well,
I would
that's two
watch it.
movies. They fight it out in the first one, then they become allies against the common enemy, and they team up for part two.
I
Perfect.
love it. It's perfect. The first one is like a battle over resources, and then they find out that they're better suited instead of burning each other down, kind of building it up together and go forward for the second volume. I think it sounds great.
Oh my God. Well, imagine if you got like a bunch of drag queens and cosplayers together. Could you imagine the costumes, the
Oh my
outfits that
God.
they would come
Oh
up
my God.
with?
The makeup would be fantastic, that's for sure.
Super, super ornate.
Um, so like co obviously cosplaying, nerd culture is like a huge part of this movie. Is it fair to assume one of you, both of you, super nerds? Are you into cosplay? What's your story with that?
So I think that I might be able to lodge as like the slightly bigger nerd than Aaron. But I definitely started with cons. I grew up in northern New Jersey, back in the early 90s. There weren't a lot of cons up there.
Hmm.
Even San Diego Comic Con wasn't nearly as big as it was or it is now. But I did get to go to a bunch of horror conventions and, little things around because my dad was a big sci-fi movie guy.
Hmm.
And then my first like real world con was on a family trip down to Las Vegas, and they had a random Star Trek convention that was happening and just happened to coincide with our trip. And I got to do that. And that was like my first like big convention, which, the tables everywhere and everyone's selling stuff. And that kind of opened my eyes to the whole world. But I've been like basically cosplaying in one or a different way since I was about 5 years old. And when it came to kind of trying to figure out an idea for a movie, it kind of all wrapped itself together and started snowballing after I found like a Captain America shield, and I was like, oh, I'd like to kill a zombie with that. And then it's like, oh, cosplayers have shields, and yeah, it was like a whole thing. But a big anime fan in the 90s, which was kind of the dark ages, and basically lover of, all things Marvel and DC before loving Marvel and DC became like a cool thing. Like it was back when
Yes.
you got made fun of for liking this kind of stuff. And now it's like, oh, everyone watches Avengers, everyone watches Batman. I'm like, where were all these people when I was getting picked on in school? Like,
Yeah.
and everyone's
Really
into
good for
anime now too.
business, but it's kind of unfair, right?
A part of me thinks it's unfair, and the other part of me is just so happy that I get to experience all of these things now. Like, even as an adult, I get to watch the movies, and it's like, so it's a double-edged sword. But at the end of the day, I'll take the overall acceptance of it over being shunned for it any day.
Yeah.
A much more positive experience. Yeah, I would say Kyle was the bigger nerd in that respect. I had like one or two giant super fandoms, and Harry Potter, I was an early adopter of the books,
Mhm.
and my sister and I would have our mom take us to a bookstore literally when it was going to be released a new one at midnight so that we could go and be like the first ones yet. And then soon enough, after one or two, my cousins had gotten into it, and we would be on family trips, and literally we would all, I don't know if it was always the bathroom in a hotel, but we would all pile into the bathroom and our parents would be sleeping, and like one of us would be in the tub, one like sitting on the toilet, two like crunched on the ground, and we'd all just be reading through the night. And of course my sister was the one who read faster, so she'd be we'd all say what
Mhm.
page. And it kind of just went from there. But yeah, super fan. I like cosplayed as Hermione to go to the movies. I had the like robe and the broomstick and everything. Um, yeah, super fandom.
You would you would get along well with my little sister. I'm not super knowledgeable about Harry Potter, so I forget the name, but that what was that like play that came out after the book?
Oh yeah, I think it's Chris Child.
Yeah, like when that was being released, she dragged me to one of those midnight releases when we were on vacation. So I was the only person who could go with her. And oh my goodness, I didn't know what I was getting into when I agreed to that. It was wild and a lot of fun.
Joining like any big IP property and experiencing that specific fandom for the first time when you're not super aware of it is a wild experience. You get that like times a million at any convention because I know Kyle and I were filming cosplay videos for a while as well after the release, or during post production before the release of ZombieCon, and we would go to all the cosplay meetups for specific fandoms that everyone in that cosplay could get group team up shots, and it was just insane. Depending on where you go, like the amount of love though was like the uniting factor.
Mhm.
Everyone's really, really passionate about what they're into, and that was cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was saying to someone I was talking about this movie the other day that like you can't say this about every movie, but there's some that you watch where you just like feel the love and the passion and the joy, just like it almost doesn't even matter what's on screen. You just feel it radiating through the screen at you. And your movie is absolutely one of those.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very
Thank
much.
you
That
very, very
means the
much.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
truly.
And I think, this movie takes place in kind of the intersection of like horror fandom and like all those other kind of like bits of nerd culture. And I think, people like us who live in these spaces know more than anybody just how exciting and passionate and just like joyful and supportive those groups of people can be. And I mean, it seems very clear that that was like one of your main goals, trying to capture that on film in your movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, going to a con, it's kind of like basking in the best of humanity from my, point of view. Like, a lot
Hmm.
of people like to go to sporting games, and there's always kind of that built-in rivalry anytime you go to, a kind of event where it's one team versus the other team or something like that. And I know we have a bit of that in the film, but when you go to a con and you're able to enjoy people's company, everyone I've like very seldom had any kind of negative experience at any kind of convention. Everyone is welcoming, everyone is open. You can have fantastic, almost absurdly like detalic conversations about anything that you could possibly be interested in. And no matter how much you know, you are almost guaranteed to walk away learning 10 more things that you had no idea happened prior. And it's just, it's like, it's kind of like an oasis of creativity in sometimes the desert of humanity, where it's like a lot of people are just, either busy with regular life or going to
Hmm.
work and doing all this other stuff. And it's kind of one of those shining beacons of just creative freedom and acceptance and just love that kind of radiates through these spaces. That's what I found, at least.
Yes.
You're here. Totally agree.
Yeah. You're kind of referencing it there, but one of the things I was going to bring up was this concept of people use different terms for it, but like chosen family or found family. Um, I mentioned queer horror earlier, and like in queer spaces, that's a big, big thing where we're very big on like our chosen family being as important as our sometimes more important than our blood family. And I think sometimes like any sub community, we can get almost tunnel vision and think like, oh, that's just an us thing. We're the only people who do that. But then I watch your movie and it reminds me and reopens my eyes that like yeah that concept is just as important in other groups too. Could you maybe talk a little bit about that idea of chosen family, how it plays out in your movie?
Yeah. Aaron, would you like to take a stab at this, or you want me to go with it?
I think this is more of a director question. You start, I'll
Yeah.
follow you up.
So I know it was very prevalent in my life, was finding people who again had similar fandoms and enjoyed the same things. And again, scaling back from even the con culture, but going to Los Angeles after college, and meeting Punky, meeting Christian Casillas, who plays Javier, and obviously Punky Johnson plays Punky in the film,
Mhm.
and then obviously meeting Aaron, and who became real family. But you find these people who have similar interests, who have similar kind of paths in life, and they're not generally accepted like the quote unquote what is the regular path. So you find
Mhm.
yourself in a very kind of limited space, and finding those people is difficult, yet so rewarding when you do, because you connect on a level that goes deeper than just the minutia of regular life, and you find commonalities and loves that allow you to have a shorthand and enjoy life, and see it more brighter than you would have just by yourself. And it kind of heightens both the emotional aspect of it, alongside just the physical nature of your life. It makes everything basically better. And when writing the movie, I wanted it to be around this group of four friends. I wanted it to some way mirror the relationships that I had come to find through life, especially with this group of people that when we made the film together, we really were, we still are a family. Uh, but there was a lot of that inspiration kind of dumped into the characters. So there are a lot of parallels between our kind of filmmaking family and the Rockets and how they interact with one another and how they find each other and how that benefits all of them in the good times and in the bad times, and how sometimes there's a little bit of elbow rubbing, but at the end of the day, with your found family, that's just part and parcel to the course of life. And at the end of the day, it's just all love. So it's that duality of regular life versus, I guess you said it, like found family. So it's just finding that middle ground and pairing those things together and trying to draft it onto the characters in the film.
Yeah.
That might have gone a little bit in the weeds there, but that was
Well,
No, I
I
that's
got
kind of
it.
an
I
esoteric
agree with
answer from me.
everything you said, although it is definitely worth mentioning, always worth mentioning that Rocket's character, Manny Luke,
Oh yeah, it's
is the
true.
one where, yeah, in no way was that like based on his real life personality. He's the nicest guy in the world. Like he never
Yeah.
gets annoyed. It's almost frustratingly so. Like he deals with the most annoying situations, and he's the one who's going to be positive, chipper. If he's annoyed, he doesn't say anything about it, or he'll make like a little casual remark that shows he's frustrated, but that is totally fine with it. So it is funny that his deviates so far. But along the lines of what Kyle was saying, what I love about the Rockets and found family, and kind of like those friends that understand you in general, it's like
Mm.
they not only support you and know you and you drive together and you're experiencing life like as a group truly together, but they know and understand and appreciate your idiocentricities, or whatever the word is there. They appreciate all the things that
We'll go
make
with
you
that.
weird and that are your own little like personality quirks and flaws that maybe you're a little bit embarrassed about, or that you don't readily show anyone else, maybe your real family,
Mhm.
and sides of yourself that you're a little bit sheepish about, like they totally get, and you can be yourself around. And especially with the Rockets, everyone's kind of got like a little bit of a not darker side, but a frustrating side of them that if they were just, out in the world, whatever, I think they'd be seen as annoying, or they wouldn't want to showcase that, especially with Rocket. It's really shown in this movie,
Yeah.
and he feels okay in sharing his frustrations. And that's what the whole real benefit of having people so close to you, found family or real family, is. So I'm a big fan of the Rockets.
Oh,
Absolutely.
oh, they're awesome. Who wouldn't want to hang out with them? Um, it is so empowering because I think this is what you were kind of referencing, Kyle, this idea that for a lot of us who are into these very, very niche fandoms, or just different in some way, like othered in some way, even if it's not about the movies that we like or the characters that we love. Um, Especially when you're younger, so much of your early years, it feels like a really negative thing. It's a source of shame, it's a source of isolation, it's often a source of pain. And I think it's like both personally in real life and to watch it depicted in a movie, it is so powerful to watch it like flip that you do not have to change yourself. You just, and if anything, you just lean more into who you are. And then in the case of your movie, it like quite literally becomes a superpower that you can use to, to fight off throngs of zombies. But in real life, it just becomes this thing that used to be a source of shame is now a source of pride and a source of like, this is how I meet my people. This is how I make friends. This is how I enjoy myself.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. And I feel like the internet, and I mean, I think we're all very lucky to grow up when we did, because I think, again, going back to what we had talked about previously, where these fandoms went from being kind of isolated groups to more mainstream kind of things. I think a lot of people, in the previous 50, 60, 70, 100 years, they didn't have that kind of evolution of a lot of things. And we
Mhm.
got to live through this beautiful cultural evolution where I think a lot of it has to do with the internet. It kind of opened up the doors of accessibility and understanding between people and allowed people to connect with people from all over the world in a way that was never possible before. And it allowed a lot of these things that used to be niche or kind of behind the scenes to become much more to the forefront, and allowed a lot of this kind of exaltation of love and just community to grow around things where prior to that, you might have been separated from, you might live down the road from someone, you might never meet them, you might have the exact same ideas, the exact same kind of sentiments, but they were 3 miles away and you just never saw them because they were in a different town or a different zip code or something.
Yeah.
And that extends to states and countries, and now we're kind of all one giant community, and it's just beautiful to see what's kind of come out of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you and I, we were both probably living in New Jersey at the same time. And if
I'm
it weren't
sure,
for the
yeah.
internet and connecting these ways, we wouldn't have even known each other existed. So,
That's right.
yeah. The like the whole group Rockets, the like the rapport and the vibe between them is probably one of the strongest attributes of the movie, just their how comfortable they are with each other and the banter and the fun that they have with each other, and also how they like lose their minds together when shit proverbially hits the fan. Um, this was definitely one of those movies I found myself wondering, like, how much of this, how in depth was all of this scripted versus was some of the interactions was any of it ad-libbed and off the cuff? Could you speak to that?
I
Yeah, I
think you'd
think
be
that
surprised by how much was scripted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a
Yeah.
majority of it was scripted. I think a lot of the stuff that was unscripted kind of came in the chaotic fight scenes where,
Mhm.
we had to kind of fill out action scenes with dialogue, and it's like the zombies throwing you across the room. Well, don't do it silently, like, and just don't scream the whole time. Like, just say something, say
Oops.
something. Like, I think my favorite unscripted moment is there's a flashback after the first, and without giving spoilers, after the first encounter,
Mhm.
uh, we get to that scene where everyone's kind of talking about what just happened, and Claire is trying to, explain to everyone, what she's done and what is the result of that. And we have that little flashback to that first encounter. And that entire flashback, which I have a couple minutes of. I just let the camera roll, and they were all just like having a field day, yelling at each other and screaming about what just happened. There's some fantastic like offbeat takes, and if we were allowed to make like a 2.5 hour movie, you would have seen like 5 or 10 minutes of just like unscripted dialogue of these four characters screaming at Claire about what she's just done.
One of my favorite ones in that vein, right, was Manny Luke playing Rocket, going, "You just killed your ex-partner," over and over, like shouting at me of all the insults and like chaotic things to worry about, the fact that he was my ex.
Yeah, I mean, not to be too harsh on him, but I think he had it coming from what I saw.
It's true. And
I
in the
agree.
DVD, in the bonus features, there is a deleted scene that's included where we actually see a little bit of Xander pre-zombie Xander and
Devin.
Devin, sorry, Devin before he goes zombie. And I think it'll make audiences extra align with the fact that yeah, he gets what he deserves.
Nice.
100%.
I I'm not sure if we made it clear in this interview, but for in case we didn't, Aaron, you play Claire. That is your character in the movie, and I think when you're talking about those like small moments, one of my favorite is like this little throwaway bit, but it stuck with me. Is when you've all killed somebody, you're trying to dispose of the body, and you're messing with the duct tape, trying to wrap it up, and it because like, everybody can relate to this. It gets stuck and twisted and it won't tear. And you're just like throwing this little fit and like so frustrated with it. I love those like little moments of this is actually how a group of nerds would be like reacting in the middle of a zombie apocalypse.
Well, this fits really well with the previous question because that one actually I don't think was scripted. And honestly, I had forgotten that we'd even filmed that bit until Kyle threw it in the edit in one of these, edits of ZombieCon. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about that moment. And I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people have been saying how much they appreciated that moment. And I I would have never thought that anyone like was like grafting onto that, but it makes me very happy because it was real. I was very frustrated. I could not get the duct tape working. My hands were all like caked in blood. The gloves were not working. It wasn't working. It was very frustrating.
Yeah, the way that that was written in the initial script, I always had it in my mind like it would be very quick Edgar Wright-ish beats where it's like,
Hmm.
the glove gets, the shower curtain gets torn off, which the shower curtain tearing off was actually way harder than you could possibly imagine. I had to pre-cut that thing because we tried to just rip the shower curtain off and the entire pole that connects it to the wall got ripped down in the process. I was like, oh, wow, these things are actually built pretty hardily. Uh, but they're supposed to be these quick beats. Shower curtain, Javier slaps on his glove. Punky rolls down the trash bags, and we got to Erin's scene, and I'm like, yeah, just rip it cleanly. You got it. Just grab it and go. I think it was like the fourth take, and Erin is just having a fit. I'm like behind the camera. If you heard the production audio, I'm like, it's okay, Erin, you got it. Just rip it. She's like, I can't rip it. It's not ripping. It's not gonna rip.
Oh, I was saying a whole bunch of things behind that mask. I probably was cursing for half of
I think
it.
you were like, why don't you come over here and rip this thing?
Can't get it. It's not that easy.
It's perfect because yeah, that's real life, right? And that's the stuff that's fun, seeing real people try to act as superheroes, right? Because you're not actually superheroes, you're just dressed up as them. So it looks so much cooler in your imagination than when you try to actually do
Real life imitating art.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
it. One of the other things that stuck with me in terms of just like, if this was real life, this is what would actually happen in a zombie apocalypse. I don't know if I mentioned this in my little mini review online, and Aaron, you commented on it. I don't know if I should admit it on record, but I'm going to. Carlo Mendez playing Xander. It's like this idea, you don't think about this, but what if a ridiculously attractive shirtless dude got turned into a zombie? And I'm like, I should not be having these really uncomfortable feelings about an undead brain-eating monster in this movie, but you did that to me, and I'm sure many other people. So thank you.
I'm glad to
Uh,
hear
I think you got to thank Carlo Mendez for that. I mean, he and Christian stay in like amazing shape year
Right.
round. I don't know how they do it. It's insane, but they are both incredibly ripped, and I know they work out a lot together. But during that scene, I had thought, let's have him in that gi, right? It was from the anime Bleach, but it's like something you'd wear to go to like kendo practice or something.
Mhm.
And in the middle of the scene, he just rips it off, which I didn't expect. But I was like, I love this. This is awesome. I was like getting like, because I always, whenever I see Carlo, for some reason, he reminds me of Arnold Schwarzenegger. So when he rips off this thing, he's got like the muscles bulging and the veins are popping out. I'm like, oh, this is great. We got to keep going with this. So, but I'm happy. I'm happy that it worked for you.
No, no, yeah, worked in some strange ways, but yeah,
I
absolutely.
I love that comment because like we've been really fortunate to get some amazing reviews with this movie, and every single review, it's so fun too. A sidebar real quick, just to see how they put the review together. Is it a video? Is it, a compilation of photos with the huge caption and story, and the way that they kind of approach showcasing what they loved about it and how they interpreted it is endlessly fascinating and rewarding as filmmakers. But that bit in your review, I loved. I was like, this is a little bit of like personality thrown in, and one of those little quirky comments that is going to stick with me. And it's true. Like Kyle said, like he's jacked. He's insanely jacked. And you see this, like you said as well, this jacked zombie ripping his shirt off. It's like, oh my God, where are we going with this?
Oh my goodness.
In that scene when he's down and he's cradling Rocket, I'll try not to give any spoilers, but when he's got Rocket in that embrace, he's have his whole monologue to him, and in the middle of filming, Carlo just he's salivating so much he just lets a giant, like, I don't know, it's not a globule, but it's just like this, that very clear saliva drip right onto Rocket's neck, which I thought was so perfect for like this zombie who's like, ready to feast on his flesh, but he's holding himself back because he wants it, again, no spoilers, but he wants that to get to that next step with him. Um, But when that happened, I was like, that is awesome. And thankfully, Manny didn't freak out when that happened either. He just kept rolling with exactly what happened. Then we yelled cut and like, okay, that's great. Okay, we're gonna reset. That was perfect. We'll do one more for safety. And Rock and Manny is Manny's like, Carlo, I think you got me. And Carlo is like, well, I think he's like, I'm a hungry zombie or something. It totally works. I was like, this is great
I
stuff.
I have to say, as a member of the Rockets as well, not only were we super close before, but afterward, we had the joyous experience over the month long shoot of having had bled over each other, sweated all over each other, cried our tears and snot all over each other. Like we were getting real close. It was lovely.
You don't go through that together and not be a family of some kind afterwards.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's in your title. Volume one is what's like. So I have to ask, what if anything is next? Do you have any plans or hopes?
So we've
Kyle
got
has his ducks
volume.
in a row. Yeah.
So we've got volume 2 through 5 written and ready to go, and then the story actually extends up to volume 10, which is where it kind of this piece of the story ends. But it does explore things like what the mystery of the rock is and where
Hmm.
the characters go and kind of how this world develops. And volume 2 does take place after a bit of a time gap because we filmed it in 2016, and even though all of our actors aged beautifully, uh, we have just a small time gap to
Just a little
explain
bit.
the distance. And also, I'm a huge fan of like the worlds that get built up after the apocalypse. And
Hmm.
I think seeing how it's built isn't necessarily as important as seeing what's been built, because that
Hmm.
will explain a lot of, what's going on. And you don't need to really do all the I'm nailing, pieces of junk together and, recommissioning dehumidifiers to get water out of the air or something like that. It's just kind of already there.
Yeah.
So
The
allows us to
Martian
have
already did that really well. We don't need to see a whole movie, right?
Yeah.
fantastic movie. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, regarding any time jumps, if we can accept that the Stranger Kids or Stranger Things kids are like still in middle school, I think we can
Right.
allow Rockets to age a couple years in between movies.
Fair. It's very fair. It's a good point.
Uh, well, Kyle and Aaron, this has been a blast. I want to just like go crack a beer open and hang out with you both all day, but that would be unprofessional. So I
I don't
do.
mind.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
Nice. Well, maybe we'll start a podcast. We can do that every week.
Sounds good to
Perfect.
me. An excuse to drink, count me in.
I'll just like tell the grandparents that they can extend their babysitting for a couple more hours and we'll be all set.
Exactly. But in the interest of yeah, like officially wrapping up, can you just tell anybody watching, yeah, where should they follow you? How can they watch this movie if they haven't yet? What should they be keeping an eye out for?
Yeah, absolutely. So our website is zombieconvol1.com. That's the number one. And then across all of our socials, we're at ZombieCon Movie and we run our own socials. So please reach out, like tag us in whatever, comment, message. Always love to hear the feedback. Um, but yeah, we'll be updating everyone. You can find ZombieCon Vol 1 anywhere in North America, US and Canada, streaming. Like if anywhere you can buy or rent movies, you will find ZombieCon Vol 1. And
Mhm.
then the DVD we are really excited about actually just launched like a week ago. And on the day of its release, Amazon Prime was saying temporarily out of stock. Sorry, you guys cleaned us out. So it is back in stock currently. And if you order it, very soon it'll be here before Halloween. But definitely go check out the DVD. We got bonus features, extended scenes, filmmaker commentary, which Kyle and I absolutely loved. Sitting there on the couch he's sitting on right now, filming us watching ZombieCon Volume 1, holding our daughter and our dog, and saying everything from behind the scenes stuff to filmmaking, how it was made, and cast and crew little tidbits. It was very cathartic filming that after 10 years of post production journey on this film. So definitely check out the DVD.
Oh, fantastic. That's awesome. So yeah, and you mentioned like, yeah, it'll be here before Halloween and we're filming this a couple weeks before it. I feel like this is a movie that is like yeah, custom designed for like a Halloween watch party with just a group of nerdy horror friends. So yeah, people watching, you should order it and put that party together. So
Don't
yeah, you
forget the
too.
pizza and beer.
Oh yes,
Yes.
pizza, beer, and costumes.
But be careful when you answer the door for the pizza delivery guy.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Have
Proceed with
your
caution.
katana at the ready.
Yes, and not a, plastic lightsaber, preferably.
Uh, well, you two, thank you so much for talking to us at Macabre Daily. We really, really appreciate it. We'll get this interview up on the website soon. We'll have a proper review of the movie up, and yeah, and then we'll talk to you for volume two. We'll have you back.
Right
That would be
on.
awesome. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much,
much.
Brian.
All
Yeah.
right. Thank you, and thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Thank you.